Today we're going to be talking about Thresh, one of the new characters in 2XKO, probably one of the coolest additions to the roster of the game. And in this video I'm going to give you 5 things that you must know about the character to get started and feel comfortable with his game plan. Hopefully it helps you to understand him and enjoy the character because he's really fun to play. Like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this on the channel, guides, educational style of videos, or if you just want to support me, I would appreciate it a ton. And now let's get into the guide. And well, the first thing we're going to talk about, or the first tip, is going to be around 2 moves or tools that in my opinion a lot of people are going to underuse to play neutral specifically, and I think they're really strong with Thresh. So the first one is going to be down S2 or his ghoul, okay? This is essentially kind of like a slow projectile that tries to cover the screen and works as a shield in many ways for you to go up and cover yourself with it. And I feel like many people are going to underuse it because it is quite slow on startup. But if you're in this range, right, if you're super like full screen range, this is one of the best moves in the game to play neutral, because you can either use it for yourself, you put the ghoul down and you dash, right, you take your time, dash and block, or you can put the ghoul down, call an assist, and then change, and then the ghoul is still on the screen, right? And your assist or your new character has that to support their offense. So it can be really strong. So do not sleep on the ghoul on down S2. I think that it is one of the most kind of like niche tools that Thresh has that many people are going to ignore in favor of doing other things in neutral. But this move, I personally believe, is much better than people give it credit for. And then the second tool for tip 1 that we have to talk about is going to be Thresh Lantern. Okay, this move, I personally feel like a lot of people are going to use it mostly to do mix-ups on Oki, or to kind of like, you know, extend combos, because a lot of the time you use the Lantern as a way to make the combos longer and things like that. But this is also a projectile. It works like a fireball, and it is arguably one of the best fireballs in the game if you use it right, because it can cross up people. And at the same time, if they actually block it, then you have the opportunity to teleport, or for example, you throw the lantern, also call an assist, and you teleport with it, and things like that. So it is a very tricky neutral kind of like tool that I feel, again, a lot of people are going to underuse in favor of other things that Thresh can do that we're going to talk about later. So do not sleep on the lantern. It can be a really good and simple projectile that can help you to navigate neutral, and also kind of like have, you know, something in the screen to do some cheeky mix-ups or things like that with the teleport. And the other thing about the lantern that I want to mention is that it is a combo starter. Like, if you hit somebody with the lantern in the right angle, you can get absolutely nasty combos. Like, they do a lot of damage and also actually give you super good Oki as well. So do not sleep, you know, on the opportunity to get combos with the lantern as the combo starter. And if you have the right assists, you can get super crazy with the routes. This is something that I've been loving, for example, with the team that I want to play, which is Blitz and Thresh. And you can get something like this, right, with 2 super bars, 80% damage from a lantern toss, you know, from a projectile that is also a teleport kind of like tool, right, to control neutral, to hit up the space and not let people get in for free. So yeah, do not sleep on the lantern, and also do not sleep on the ghoul, the 2 S2 abilities that you need to use to play neutral with Thresh. And now let's actually talk about tip number 2, and this one is also about neutral, but more connected to the obvious, you know, tools that Thresh has to play neutral, which are his long range normals and special moves, okay? Stuff like, for example, your stand heavy is absolutely crazy, super long range, gives you full combos depending on the kind of like spacing that it has and how you can connect it to your hook with S1, but you can get full combos from your stand H into hook without much trouble, right? Stuff like this, super strong, and you get, you know, 70-80% depending on the team that you have. So it can be super good, and that is only from a stand H, you know, nothing super weird, not super fancy, and insanely strong. So super good. The damage is just nuts, to be completely honest with you. All of this from a stand heavy. Then the other thing you have is just the hook, right? S1. And this is arguably even better. I would say that stand H, it is a bit slower in comparison, but it has better range. Like, it is a full screen check for people to get hit by. And you also can get like combos from this because it feels like it has kind of like a fixed angle when it hits people. So it is not like you need to change the combo out that much. You get the idea. I'm not doing like the full combo like I did before because I already showed what you can do and the damage that you can get, but that's what happens when you hit people with stand H or with S1. So they are some of the best tools that the character has. Then there's also two other normals that I would add to the list of super big kind of like buttons that Thresh has. The first one has to be Jump H. This button is absolutely crazy, okay? It covers a ton of space in the air when you're just spamming this and jumping in neutral. Then if you hit somebody with this as a jump in, it also gives you a full combo route. So it is arguably one of the best normals that Thresh has to play neutral. And again, you get 80% damage from this if you have, you know, a decent combo with your team, just like the ones I've been showing in this showcase. Here, I'm just doing whatever, right? But you get the idea. And the other thing is that the reason why you want to do Jump H a lot is because Thresh doesn't have the best movement, okay? His forward dash is quite slow, even though it is a cross-up up close, which is good. It's just super, super slow, so you're not going to be playing neutral by forward dashing. And then he has an air dash and a good, also I would say back dash in the ground, and you can also air dash backwards in the air. But as you see, all the movement options are kind of slow. They're kind of clunky. So a lot of the time, you are going to be playing around, you know, the big range normals and also around just doing this. Like jump H, jump H, jump H, and spamming this because this covers the options of the enemy in the air. It's hard to anti-air because you're not doing it as a jump in. It's more like you're playing an air-to-air interaction. And then if they try to approach you in the ground, you stop doing it and you play with something like stand H or the hook, right? So you have a lot of ways to play around your big range normals, and jump H is arguably also something that you need to consider in that list for all the upsides that it has and the fact that it can give you full combo routes as well. It is really, really strong. And then the last normal that I would consider is forward H, okay? This button is a bit slower, but it is indeed a low and it has a lot of range. And if you hit it from around round star range, it actually gives you a full combo route, okay? So it is one of the best kind of like normals that you can learn to use to catch people kind of like off guard when they're not looking at it and stuff like that, and you can get a full combo route from it, which is really strong, taking into account that it is a low and it works in the mid-range. There I dropped the combo by the end, but you get the idea of the damage that you can get very easily. 70-80% damage from this start. So do not sleep on forward H as well. Also a really, really good normal. For tip number 3, I want to talk a little bit about utility, okay? And the reason for that is that we already said that Thresh has kind of like clunky movement. He's a relatively slow character, so a lot of the time you're going to be either in the air throwing your jump H or in the ground attacking with your super long range normals. And sometimes, like I said at the start, put your ghoul down, use your lantern as a projectile and stuff like that. But the thing that is going to happen, in my opinion, a lot is that people are going to jump in on you because the counterplay for a lot of these options is going in with a jump in or dashing into a jump. So you need to be ready to, number one, anti-air as consistently as you can. This character, for your luck, has really good anti-airs, like his 2H is super, super good. It is one of the biggest anti-airs in the game. Like, it has a super, super kind of like, you know, big hitbox, and then it works in kind of like the tip of the range in this mid-range interactions, right? It hits, and then if you're right on top of them, it still works. It is a really consistent normal to anti-air unless something like that happens in which you're literally under them and you get cross up by their jumping. But I would say that a lot of the time that's actually not going to happen, and you're still going to be able to 2H their jump even if they're on your face, okay? So be ready to use 2H to anti-air. It is really good. The other anti-air that you have is your down as one, or the anti-air version of your hook. Now, the reward of this is not the best because it gives you kind of like that interaction. Then you can do this super, which is an OTG super, and that's kind of it. At least that I know about. It is not that easy to do full combo routes of this instead of the charge version that gives you that and the full jump and combo and all of that because of the, you know, jump that he does after you charge the hook, okay? So I would say that most of the time you should prioritize anti-airing with 2H instead of with down as one, but you also have your down as one if you want to cut somebody jumping from a much longer range, okay? So use your anti-airs. They're really strong and they're a good utility for a character like Thresh that doesn't have the best movement. Sometimes he wants to play around things that are beaten up mostly by jump-ins, so do not sleep on the anti-airs. Then the second point you gotta add to tip number 3 and the idea of utility with Thresh are his throws, because he has full combos of almost every single throw that he has. Like, it is one of the strongest things about the character. He just can do so much damage from a regular throw. This is a very simple combo from a mid-screen throw, 50%. Then, for example, if you get it in the corner, the lantern gives you kind of like a bounce for free, so you don't even need to call an assist. to extend the combo, and it can get really crazy really fast in terms of damage. So it is something that you need to have kind of like in your arsenal if you want to play Thresh. The throws are really, really strong, you know. Again, not a crazy necessarily interaction, just a corner throw, and you get 60 to 70% from 2 level 1 supers. Insanely strong, right? And then, by the way, you can also do full combos from an air throw. It's not only about grounded throw mid-screen and the corner, you can also get it from a throw in the air in whatever angle or, you know, position that you got. Here I'm just showing, you know, a combo that I was using. You will need to adapt your combo routes again depending on your team and whatever it is that you're playing. I'm kind of like showing the same type of 2 level 1 supers combo route that I've been labbing, and you get over 70% from an air throw with a combo that is probably not even optimized. So do not sleep on regular throws with Thresh. They are absolutely nuts, and you can get some of your best VMBs and damage just by throwing people. The combos can be a bit tough, I'm not gonna lie, like some of them are hard to do, but you'll get them over time and learn and adapt to the team that you want to play. Now we get into tip number 4, and for this one, as you're seeing on the screen, Thresh is not the point character because he also has really good assists, and we need to talk about those for sure. His regular assist is just this multi-hit fireball. It is quite good, like it's good up close. It is relatively strong in terms of, you know, hit stun and things like that, so you can get a full combo route from it without doing anything too crazy. And if people block it, you're plus and you get your turn again, or a mix-up. You can also use it to, for example, cross people up and things like that. So it is a really good pressure assist, but the one that really makes the character shine is his back assist, okay? Because it is a full screen range assist that is also an OTG, and it can help you to extend combos in ways that other characters cannot. For example, and that's why I'm playing Darius here, you can get new combos with Darius only because of this assist, and do stuff like this. You know, very simple, 2 level 1 supers, easy combo, the other character is almost gone. And there is obviously ways to optimize combo routes like that, but it gives you the idea about how Thresh has a special assist, like the way in which you use the back assist can get very creative. It helps you to pick up combos that you cannot do otherwise, and also from what I understand, it can be used to OTG as well. So really good thing about Thresh, like if you really want to play the character but not as the point, not as the one that you want to pilot, you can for sure put him as your assist. He has good assists to use, and they can be also used either for pressure with the one up close or with the back assist for combo route extension, also to do some OTG mix-ups and more. So do not sleep on Thresh assists, they are quite good. And now we get into the final tip of the video, tip number 5. And for this one, I just want to give you a quick list of, you know, resources that are useful for pressure, mix-up, and things like that to open people up on defense. The first one is that your dash is a cross-up. Do not forget about this, okay? It is a teleport, not a regular dash. And for example, even though it is a slow, you can use it to call assist and create a cross-up situation, and then you have sandwich mix-up of a situation like that. So do not sleep on it. It can be quite decent. Then the other thing is that your lantern is plus on block, and it is very plus, okay? Plus 24, plus 20, like high numbers. Of course, people can mash when you do stuff like this, and if you put it on a bad angle, it actually just whiffs. So you need to be aware of how to use it, but if you use it correctly, it can create very oppressive interactions with this character and actually give you a lot of opportunity to open people up on defense. Then you can use it for the teleport and whatever. So do not sleep on the lantern and your block strings, especially if people are not ready for it and they're not mashing and kind of like you're already, you know, throwing you off your offense. The lantern can be quite good for a lot of different reasons. The other thing that is good that you need to consider for offense is ending most of your combos, especially in the corner, on limit strike, because it gives you an opportunity to put the lantern down before they get up. So it is really, really strong. When you have the lantern up, you can do stuff like putting the ghoul from the lantern and have Oki. You can also just use it to get a new mix-up, for example, and stuff like that, because you have the teleport. So it is really, really good, okay? It is quite strong. And most of the time, like if you want to play Thresh and you want to open people up, you're really going to need the lantern on Oki. Like it is arguably one of the best mix-ups that the character has. So do not sleep on it. And if you have the opportunity to end a combo with a limit strike, then why not do it? It is arguably a better situation than not doing it, especially for a character that has, you know, the lantern for set play and things like that, and use it for mix-up and more. So if you have the opportunity, please limit strike. Then another thing for pressure that is really good is your charge hook or your charge S1, because when you do it, your super plus and Thresh does a special jumping. And the thing is that this character, since he has an air dash, he can do double overheads, for example, right? You get your super special jump and you do jump M, air dash, jump M. Then you can also just do a lot of jump lights and they're overheads, so you get multiple overheads as a combo starter. You can also do heavy into another one and things like that. So if you have the opportunity to do a charge hook and your opponent is actually kind of like sleeping on neutral or on defense, you for sure should be using this as a tool to get in, because it is one of the best ways to open people up. So use it in the mid-range and on long range. If your opponent is sleeping and they're not ready for it, you can have a lot of mix-up with it. Or on Oki, if you can really time it out when they're waking up, you can hit it with it when they're just on wake-up frames, and then you get your mix-up from the charge hook. So that's another kind of like opportunity to open people up that you should consider as well. That is really, really good. The charge hook is just deadly if you know how to use it. And then the last thing you gotta remember when it comes to mix-up, please don't forget about it, is that this character has a special mechanic in which after you put the lantern down, if you want to, you can do tag into your teammate as a mix-up, not only your teleport as Thresh in itself. So do not forget that you have this option. It is also really, really strong. And if you have a character that has, for example, multiple overhead attacks or some sort of special mix-up from an interaction, like doing raw tag into the other character, it is actually one of the best things that you can do with Thresh when it comes to opening people up. So do not forget about the special properties that the Lantern has with your teammates. So that was the video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you have a fun time with Thresh as well. He's a really cool character. Like and subscribe if the video helped you or you want to see more videos like this on the channel. Keep enjoying 2xKO and see you on the next one. Take care.